Mostly it's brand awareness and being visible, which is important, but it's not making you money. So it is really important to break down the things that are making you money and spend less time. You can still have a presence without having to be there all the time.
Welcome to Human First Founders, the podcast for down-to-earth entrepreneurs who care deeply, think differently, and want to build a business that actually feels good to run. I'm your host, Kinsey, founder of Authentic AI, and your go-to gal for real talk about branding, mindset, storytelling, and showing up in a way that feels aligned. Every week, we're diving into honest conversations with creative founders, thoughtful strategy that you can actually use, and the human-first side of building your brand in this digital age. Let's get into it. Hey, my human friend, and welcome back to Human First Founders. I'm your host, Kinsey, and today's episode is with the amazing Peg Fitzpatrick, longtime social media strategist, educator, and all-around breath of fresh air in this online space. Peg is such a gem, and we talk about how to simplify your social media, focus on what really matters, and create content you own instead of chasing trends and burning out. Peg shares so many grounded tips for showing up in a way that's sustainable, human, and aligned with your real goals. I know you're going to love this conversation as much as I did. And if you do, make sure that you share it with a business friend who should also listen to it. And while you're at it, why not leave us 5 stars and give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform, because that's really going to help us continue growing our human first community. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. Hi, Peg. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so excited to bring you on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. And I love the name of your podcast. Who doesn't want to feel good? I love that.
Thank you. I know. Yeah. It was so funny coming to that name because it definitely, you know how starting out in entrepreneurship is. It's just you're trying all the things, you're throwing spaghetti on the wall.
Definitely.
And it took me about a year to land on that name, Feel Good Social. But then when I did, everything just started to click and stuff. I appreciate you saying that. But I do want to share with our audience who you are. I already introduced you just a little bit in the intro, but I'd love to hear from you. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve?
Such existential questions. Who am I? I was born, no, I'm just kidding. That just reminds me of Steve Martin, the jerk. Do you know that movie?
Yeah, I saw it like a while ago.
Yeah, it's an older movie, but it's very funny. So my name is Peg Fitzpatrick. I've been in social media going on 14 years that I've been working as a social media professional. So I've been around for a while. I've seen a lot of things. I've worked for one company this whole entire time, but it wasn't full time at the beginning. So I've done a lot of side projects, including writing a couple books. I've worked with Guy Kawasaki. I worked with Canva as their first head of social strategy when they were a little baby startup that nobody heard of. And then I've worked with a lot of other brands. I've worked with Audi and Motorola doing like product launches. I worked with TJ Maxx doing this really great event that they had. I came and spoke with Barbara Corcoran and Layla Ali, which was amazing. And I've actually been on social media all this time, using all the things, trying all the things, seeing what works. And my goal is to help small businesses learn social media in a way that's easy to understand and not overwhelming. So the people that I serve are basically small business owners, which is basically the same people who listen. Hey, small business owners.
Oh, yeah. You are speaking to our soul with making social media less overwhelming and more easy, because definitely that is like just one of those things I feel like every business owner goes through, unless you start out wanting to be a social media manager. But that was me. And I went through the same thing still, where you're like, okay, I'm going to start a business. And then you're like, whoa, learn all the things all of a sudden.
Right.
So we're so excited to talk with you today. But I know you shared just a little bit about your journey and how you got here and stuff. But can you just share a little bit more about that? I love to hear just like what that looked like for you.
So my very first thing, the real start, I was out to dinner with my husband being like the trophy wife with his company that is a German company. So they're a German company, but there's like an American daughter company of it. And they would send over their marketing from Germany, and it really didn't hit right for the American audience. The translations from German to English were not great. And their imaging that they use is totally different. It just doesn't hit the same. We were out to dinner in the north end of Boston. I don't know if Boston at all, but it's the best Italian food in the country. If this is so good. We were just out to dinner, drinking wine, and we were trying to explain how the marketing needs to be a little different. And so I was like, this is what I would do if I was marketing the company in the US. I'd worked in traditional marketing before this. Before there was social media, I had done marketing for a company. I did the website and did email marketing and got people to sign up for the courses that they did. I started pitching all these ideas. And one of the things was Facebook, because Facebook was brand new. And I was like, you could do a Facebook page, you could reach people. It's this new thing. And so I just started throwing out these ideas. And then 6 months later, they were like, hey, we want to hire your wife. And my husband was like, cool. So then they want to hire you. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry about that. I was like, I'm going to 100% turn that off.
Okay.
So basically, they wanted me to do all the things that I talked about. And then 6 months later, it was like, oh, no, I had to remember. I was like, okay, so I know I pitched Facebook. I know we talked about this. And the first thing that I needed to do was a product launch, which is something that a lot of small businesses have to do. So we had a new product and we were going to be at this really big event and we needed to fill the room. That was my first goal, was to get people to come and learn about this new product. So I started making things on social media, creating content to get people to sign up, via email so I could email them information about this. We went from having no email. Basically, we hadn't had anybody even doing marketing in the US for a few years. So I was starting from scratch. And we went to this event in Las Vegas and we ended up we had a room for 300, which seems like a lot of people, right? To get 300 people to come to something. So it was 300 people we needed to get. And we ended up having 500 people. We had to get chairs in and it was standing room only. So that was the very first thing I did for the company. And then I actually did a presentation explaining the marketing plan for this new product because I created marketing for the people to use for this new product too. So we're not a marketing company. We don't sell marketing, but we do try to help our customers with their marketing. It's not something that we sell though. It's just like a bonus value add thing that we did. So that was the very first thing I did, was a huge product launch that was very successful. So I was so grateful that actually worked. I've been doing this so long that there was never blogs or videos or podcasts. There was nothing to tell you how to do things. I've always had to figure out myself and learn how to do it. My background is, my major in college was geography and education, minor in English. I do all the things. I love to travel for work and, education. So I know how to teach people. That is something I was very passionate about. So I love sharing that. So I started my blog where I would share how to do things. My blog has been around really the same amount of time. I think I started it in 2010 or 11. It's been around for so long. My blog has been around for a long time, and I've always just written how to use social media, productivity tips, things like that. I love teaching people how to do things because it's very hard as a small business owner to have the time to learn how to do these things. Your business is your main thing, and you really need to use and I'm talking to the choir for you, I know, but that you need to use the main amount of your creative energy and just energy in general, creating whatever your product and service is. And then learning marketing on top of that is very overwhelming. And then when you find out you need to create 1 million reels a week, and then you're like, all right, I'm totally out. I can't do this at all. So I really just like to break it down for people. This is how you do this. Is how you do this. So that's basically the little journey of it. And so from then, I've just continued to just work in social media, but also I am a social media user. I also love it and use it myself. And I accidentally built my own social platforms because I was really just testing things that I needed for work. I didn't want to test things for the customer, for my employer. So I did things on my own accounts, and which is a little bit different. A lot of social media managers now, they don't want to do any social themselves at all. They're like, I don't want to do my social. I don't need to do my social. But I think if people don't have their own social, like, how do you know if they've been successful? That's my opinion on that. How do you feel about that?
Let's take a quick break.
Do you want to create more Instagram Reels but get stuck on what to post? I hear you. That's why I'm excited to share our new free resource, the Reels Prompt Playbook for ChatGPT. This playbook includes 20 ready-to-use AI prompts for Reels, hooks, and captions, and makes it super easy to create trendy content that grabs attention without spending endless hours scrolling Instagram for inspiration. Whether you want to share behind the scenes, offer quick tips, or tap into the latest trends, the Reels Prompt Playbook has you covered. Download your free Reels Prompt Playbook at DIY.ai/Reels. And the best part, these ChatGPT prompts are designed to work for entrepreneurs in any industry. Plus, you can pair these prompts with any trending audio or any video that you find on your phone. Basically, they're super easy, super quick, and will keep your content super authentic while saving you loads of time and headache. Grab your free playbook now at DIY.ai/Reels and start showing up on Instagram consistently today. Oh my goodness. It's so funny. Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a problem where like we are working all day on all this other stuff and you're like, oh, it's work. It happens for me too when I feel like, okay, as a solopreneur, just working at home alone, I have my dogs and I talk to them every day for sure. But I also treat my Instagram stories as whatever I would turn to a coworker and say something funny. I'll just add it to my stories and stuff. That's often like how...
That's a really great way to think of stories, is that because I also work at home and I do the same thing, but I never really thought of that. That's exactly a great explanation of how to do stories, like
for sure. And for me too, it just makes me feel like I'm with people. But I also totally understand. For me, it's funny when people are like, you do social media things, you're on social media all the time, right? Scrolling and using it. And that's where I'm kind of like, I'm not often, because you gotta set those boundaries and stuff like that. But I feel you with like,
but you can do your story and then put your phone away. That's the key, is to really, for small business owners to feel like they have to be on social media all the time is just wrong. And you shouldn't, because you would waste your brain power. You just got to do your thing, post if you're posting, answer, like stay around for a little bit and then get to work on your real work.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is a huge theme for me this year. And guys, I'm just going to include our audience for us this year, guys. I've been really trying to do is remind myself constantly that like Instagram, while important, and social media in general, while important, is not the biggest money moving needle for my business. For me as like the solopreneur and trying to like, and also especially doing all the things myself for the most part, like really realizing where I'm spending my energy, my time, my money, and giving each task like the amount of attention and energy it deserves. And so for me, and social media, especially Instagram, is such a shiny object. I feel like I just get get sucked into being like, this is so important with going viral, with growing your following. It's such like a vanity metric. So I've been trying to constantly remind myself to spend more energy on the podcast, spend more energy creating the products, the email list, and then show up on Instagram, but make it as easy as possible for myself.
Exactly.
Tell us your tips, lady. Like, how do you navigate that in your own business? And what do you have to share with?
I do have a full-time job, and I agree with you. Instagram is not the place that you're going to make your money. I don't think it's where any small businesses are making all their money. I think it's great to be there. It's important to have social presences, but every post that you do does not link to your website, and people aren't going to go. If you have a shop and you can do buttons, there's ways to do things, but mostly it's brand awareness and being visible, which is important, but it's not making you money. So it is really important to break down the things that are making you money and spend less time. You can still have a presence without having to be there all the time. Meta has been harmful for people's mental health that are on social media. When you look at the way that they want you to manage your brand, a Facebook page, they have a little relevancy score for like how fast you answered people's questions. Could you cause more stress for people? That's horrible. Yeah. Like, what other industry has that kind of metric? And then your Facebook page isn't going to do if you didn't answer something right away. It's hard enough, people. Like, don't do that to us. So I do feel like the way that you do is that you should not be spending all your time on Instagram or any of the other, or TikTok, both of them are time sucks. Both of them suck you in. You end up wasting a lot of time. It really can knock your confidence if you just get the comparison, you think, oh, they're doing it better. I shouldn't even try. They have more followers. You have to just if you can just turn off hide all the stuff on the back end and don't stress out about it so much. Do the best that you can do with the time that you have. And then go do the really important work, which is your business, whether it's your podcast. You have to look at it did I spend time doing positive? Did I find guests? Did I write questions? Did I look at their social media to see what's interesting? There's a lot of things as a podcast host. That's a lot of work. Not only just that, then you have the marketing of your podcast. So you have all those pieces. There's a million things as a podcast. I don't have a podcast, but I ran a podcast for 4 years. So I totally understand all the things that you have to do. And being on Instagram, while it's important, if you have that idea and you have a little thing that you want to share, say you just were editing your podcast and you found something new to make a cool graphic or something like that. And you want to share, hey, I just tried this new thing. Do your story for it and put your phone down and put it away. I think putting your phone away is a really important thing. If you can just even put it out of sight, because the constant interruptions, and I have a really bad problem with email too. I'm a really bad email checker. I check all the time. I overcheck. Outlook gives you little reports, and Outlook was we think you'd be more productive if you checked your email.
Outlook is stop using me so much.
That was their little AI recommendation to me. And I was that's a good note for myself. So I feel like it's the same thing. Any of the things that are just when you should be focusing on something and something else. Oh, I wonder if this happened or that happened. Especially we had the debate last night and I turned off all my stuff. I went to bed, I came back and Taylor Swift had endorsed Kamala. And I was oh, I can't believe I missed that. I was but I'm glad I missed that because it was later at night and I was in bed and I was asleep. It was fine that I saw it later.
Yeah.
We can definitely and schedule it. Schedule the times. I recommend all the time in my book and just on my blog and when I'm talking about things is to just schedule that little bit of time to check things in the morning and then put it away. And then later at the end of the day, check things again, put it away. Does not have to be a long time. You don't have to spend a lot of time scrolling, but you should check your direct messages and just check to see if you have any comments on all of your social. That is really important, but I don't think it's so important that you need to lose your focus from other stuff to do it. And I don't have notifications on my phone for anything because that pulls your focus too. I think it's so hard. I think post-pandemic, we still are all fighting to just focus and be in our zone. Don't you think so?
Oh, completely. Yeah. I mean, I think it all just starts with awareness and just getting curious about your habits. And then you can make positive changes and make little tweaks at a time to stop doing little things and stuff. And also, I love what you brought up about emotions, tying emotions to kind of everything we do. I think being aware of not just your habits, but also realizing the emotions that are tied to those habits. I always talk about one of the things that bothers me so much about social media specifically and why I try to be aware of the platforms that I'm using and the way I'm consuming content. I try to spend my time consuming podcasts or consuming even Pinterest is better than Instagram because you're scrolling through Instagram and you have no control, or TikTok or Facebook, you have no control over what you're about to see.
Yeah.
And you'll be feeling good all of a sudden, and then you'll see some doom scroll post and you're oh my gosh, your emotion, your energy can completely change the entire day.
Yeah.
And it's just, you need to be aware of that. Start making little positive changes here and there, and slowly it'll become easier, I think.
Pinterest is 100% the best for that. The most positive place to be. More than any other social platform, really learns what you want to see. If you get a new hobby and you're looking for stuff, it shows you stuff. I went gluten-free last January, 100% gluten-free, and it only shows me gluten-free recipes now. For everything. I'm thank you. And that seems like a small thing, but it's actually a big thing. It's in some ways creepy, and all of them are creepy because they're monitoring everything we do. But I go onto Pinterest. You don't have to worry about commenting or anything like that. And you can look for inspiration for exactly what you're looking for. And then you'll see more of it the next time you come on. But it is really, they strive to be a positive place. And their goal is for you to find things and then get off Pinterest and go do it. Their whole motto is go do things that you find on Pinterest. Don't just stay here and look at it. So I'm actually in the Pinterest creator group, which is a special Pinterest thing that they have where I'm in with like other creators. I'm really the only social media person. Everybody else is fashion bloggers or food bloggers or things like that. But I get to see a little bit more what they talk about behind the scenes on Pinterest. But it's always been that way. It's always the quietest place as far as like social chatter goes. You've had the ability to send messages there, but really no one does it. And you can comment on pins, but that's really not that big of a thing either. So I do love Pinterest for that. And I also get way more traffic to my blog from Pinterest than I do from anything else. It's been my number one traffic driver for visibility for a decade, literally. So
Yeah.
I always try to just tell myself, why are you spending so much time on something that's not giving you as much traction, which is Instagram and TikTok, because you can't click to anything unless it's a story and you have the link there. But on Pinterest, you can make every single pin link to your podcast, link to your website, link to your email sign up. So every single pin is actionable, whether it's a video or a graphic. And it's the only social platform, which it's really not a social platform. It's a book marketing site, they say, but we lump it into the social media category. But I get a lot more interaction from that. And I'm constantly telling myself I should spend equal time on my Pinterest stuff as I do on my Instagram. And for Pinterest, they're like, if you can create one new original piece of content a week, they're happy. One piece of content, just one short video or one graphic. And they're like, can you do that? I'm like, oh my God, one thing. You don't hear that for Instagram, just post one thing. And so it's really good to think about if your small business can be there, if you're building a list, there's different kinds of small businesses. So some businesses fit really well with Pinterest and some maybe a little bit more of a challenge, but every industry is on there and every kind of inspiration is on there. So if you feel like it's not perfect for your company right now, it's still perfect for inspiration. So you can go get doomless inspiration.
Doomless social media. That should be their like slogan. Doomless. I love it. Okay, before I let you go, I do just want to ask, because you have been in this world for quite a few years and you've seen so many different changes on all the platforms for sure. It's crazy how much even just Instagram has changed, but just the entire world of social media and social media marketing. I think people are feeling really overwhelmed and really confused about, okay, there's all this advice I've been hearing, but then the advice changes. And then there's other advice and opposing advice and stuff. So what is your advice this year? Like in 2024, what do you think people should be doing when it comes to social media marketing?
So here's the thing. I love social media and I've been on it forever, but the main thing is to make sure that you own what you're creating. So having your own website is the only thing that you in your email list. Those are two things that you can grow and build that you have control of. Even though you're on an email service, you can still download your list of your email list. I see a lot of people now and they build their whole business on TikTok or Instagram. Those things can disappear. I was on Google Plus, which is a platform. I don't know if you even remember the last podcast was on. She was like, I don't even know what that is. That's how long it's been gone. But I worked very hard on that. And I had 1.5 million followers on Google Plus, which is a lot of followers. And I did lead people to my email list and I did lead people to my blog, but Google got rid of that. And at the time it never reached the levels of other social platforms, even though it had a lot of great features to it. There were tons of people there. It was connected with Google and YouTube and everything else. So people were like, this isn't going anywhere. It's Google. But they did. They closed it. So things can go away. Your podcast, you host it somewhere. There's a lot of different podcast hosts. So you would be able to move things around because you own your recordings. So I guess podcast is another thing that you can own, right?
Yeah,
You could move that if you wanted. Okay.
Totally.
So your podcast, again, another great thing. But you just want to make sure that you're not creating things on someone else's property because they can close it at any time. So you can't rely just on having an Instagram account and creating a link in bio, like landing page with Linktree or Milkshake or any of those popular things. Those are good things to have. But if those disappear, then you don't have that. You're going to lose all those followers. And TikTok, they're constantly talking about how if you have it on your phone, the Chinese are monitoring everything on your phone. And that is 100% true. The government is still looking at if they're going to close it down or make it be American owned or whatever. So the main thing that I always say is that you need to make sure that you own what you're creating and that it's sustainable, that it's not something that could disappear, because your Pinterest could disappear, your Instagram, your TikTok, any of those things. So you want to make sure you're building an email list and you're emailing people, and you could have a simple website. So you could have your basic stuff on there. And then if you have a podcast, you do own that as well. So just make sure that you own something that you're creating that's going to house everything that you have. Because I feel like it's always been, and it's the same that it ever has been. I've said that since the very beginning, that you need a website. And I think blogs aren't as popular now. So people are like, I don't need a blog, but you still need a website, because that's where people are going to search on Google and they're going to hopefully find you.
Yeah, yes, that's such a great advice. And it's just like you just said, it's long-lasting advice. It's solid advice. I just started asking that question by saying the platforms are always changing and the advice is always changing. The opinions, all the things are always changing. But like having that solid foundation of content that you own, of having your online home is so important. It's a great starting place.
Yeah.
And anytime in your business or the history of social media, that's been so helpful. And I always remember too, I always like to say this, and this ties in with exactly what you just said, because that sort of content that you're just talking about, it lasts. Like my podcast, my content lasts, blogs last, even Pinterest pins last, your website lasts. Like I have people finding me through my podcast from episodes from 2019.
Isn't that crazy? Because they searched for something and you talked about it.
They searched for something.
Right.
It popped up and they still found it to be helpful. And they'll follow me and they'll say, hey, I found you through your podcast. I listened to this episode. I was like, really? Wow. Okay. I forgot about that one. But that's what happens. And so just remembering to spend your time on the content that matters. And yes, I think having a social media, Instagram or whatever presence is great and important. And I really love using, this is coming full circle, Instagram for the community building, right? I like focusing on sharing the stuff that it's like, you're my best friend. I'm sharing a little behind the scenes. I'm building my community. I'm having conversations, but the content I spend time creating is that long lasting stuff. So
exactly.
I loved that advice. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Peg, can you share with everyone where they can find you and find any free resources you might have?
Sure. My blog is pegfitzpatrick.com. And I do have resources on there. So if there's a resources tab, there's downloads that are people love. So go check them out. I have a book called The Art of Small Business Social Media, a blueprint for marketing success. And that is available now wherever you like to get books.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. Thank you. And we'll link things in the show notes too. How great was this conversation with Peg, you guys? I truly enjoy her energy so much. And I love the realness that she brings to not only her social media marketing tips, but also just herself being a genuine human in this online world. She truly is just a genuine human being. And I definitely recommend you go connect with her. All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time I catch you. Thanks so much for tuning into Human First Founders, my friend. If you loved this episode, the best way to support the show is to follow along, leave a quick review, and share it with a friend who also gets it. You can always connect with me and explore more at DIYwith.ai, or come say hey on Instagram at Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs. Keep building boldly, stay human, and I'll catch you in the next one.